Today I'm testing out a brand new camera product from a company called OBSBOT. It's one of the most exciting photography products that I've seen come around in a really long time. It answers a lot of questions I have. It solves a lot of problems that I have as a content creator and photographer. OBSBOT bills this camera as the world's first AI auto director camera. And they say, film with freedom. The OBSBOT Tail Air acts as your personal cameraman and director. Track, auto zoom, and capture movement in up to 4K 60 frames per second. It all sounds pretty good. And on this channel, we're far too broke to be able to afford a real cameraman, so we better take a look at it. So I have the camera with me right here. I'm gonna open up the box and we're gonna take a look at everything that they have provided. Good looking box. On the back of the box, it lists everything that's included. It says it comes with the OBSBOT Tail Air. Obviously that's the camera, a storage case, a USB-C cable, a USB-C to USB-A adapter, a wall adapter, a quick start guide, and a warranty card. It also says that it's compatible with Google Play and the Apple iOS store, but at the time of making this video, the Apple software hadn't been updated yet. So it's only available on Android right now, but the iOS support is coming very soon. Probably by the time you see this video, it'll already be out. So I'm gonna open up the box here and we're gonna take a look at it. Again, very nice packaging. Mastermind on air. Inside, we've got the quick start guide, the warranty information, all that stuff. Won't be needing that right now. So we're gonna toss that to the side. And inside we have the already packaged, ooh, look what a nice little hard shell case. Check that out. So I'm gonna open that up. And then there it is. There's the camera. So as we pull the camera out of the box, you're probably wondering, what in the world is this thing? Well, this is a PTZ camera. So what this camera does is you put it on a tripod and you can see the camera is on a gimbal. Right? It follows you. You put this camera on a tripod and let it go. The camera is clever enough to be able to pull you out of a frame and track you no matter what you do. We're gonna dig into the tech specs and all the nitty gritty in just a second, but that's where I see a lot of use in this camera. If you've watched this channel for any length of time, you know I basically make two styles of videos, right? Sometimes I do vlog style. That's very infrequent because I'm a public defender, don't have a lot of time to travel. But the bulk of my content is this talking head style stuff. So a lot of times when I'm out making that vlog style content, I'll set up some set shots, right? I'll put a camera on a tripod and I'll just capture a shot of me walking, capture a shot of me doing something, cooking, whatever thing I'm doing. I envision using this as being able to set this on a tripod and being able to have the camera track me as I'm doing things. It's gonna make the shots more dynamic. It's gonna make the shots more interesting. It's gonna give me better shots with me actually having to do less. So in that way, it's really cool. Another way that I envision using this camera is lots of times I wanna do hands-on stuff, right? I've got some ideas for some videos coming up in the garage where I'm actually gonna be working on some cameras. I don't wanna tip my hand too much about what's gonna go on, but having a camera that follows me, that follows my hands, that follows my movement is gonna be very, very handy for capturing that footage. So for that kind of stuff, when you're gonna be moving around in a space, a camera like this makes a lot of sense. So let's talk about some of the specs of the camera. I already mentioned this earlier in the video, but the camera records in 4K Ultra HD. So let's talk about some of the specs of the camera. As I stated previously, the camera records in 4K Ultra HD, but it also records in lesser settings as well. So if you want 1080p 30, 1080p 24, all that's there as well. But the camera also uses a laser focusing mechanism. The camera also uses a laser focusing mechanism to achieve really accurate focus. So the camera is constantly shooting lasers out of it to gauge the depth, find the movement in the shot, and to be able to follow the target. So that's really cool as well. That mechanism gonna allow for fast, accurate focus. The first question I always have when looking at a camera like this is what type of imaging sensor does it have? The camera has a 1.18 CMOS style image sensor, 2 nanometer pixel size. But the most important thing that this camera features is really powerful internal CPU that allows for it to make the AI calculations, for it to be able to judge how far should I zoom in, how far should I zoom out, which person in the frame am I supposed to be focusing on. Reading the gesture controls, that's something we haven't mentioned yet, but the camera also reads gesture controls, making sure that the camera is doing what it's supposed to do. The camera has a really powerful CPU inside that makes it capable of doing those AI type functions. And because it's an all-in-one design, the camera does have a lens fitted to it already. It's not interchangeable, but it is a very complex design and should deliver really nice image quality. The lens on the OBSBOT Tail Air features 8 lens elements. It is actually a prime lens. So even though this is a PTZ camera, pan, tilt, zoom, the zoom is achieved through a digital zoom. So it's up to a 4 times digital zoom. The lens is actually a 23mm f1.8 prime lens, and any zooming effect that you get is a digital zoom. So the camera and lens combination has an ISO range of 100 to 6400. In the software, you can select whether to over or underexpose these shots. Focus can be achieved via autofocus or set to manual focus, again, in the software. Maximum aperture of a really bright 1.8, which is awesome to see. It means the camera's gonna be really good in low light. But you can see the camera has a really interesting design. It's already on a gimbal. Well, this is a 6-axis gimbal capable of going left, right, up, and down. So that's what's gonna help the camera track you. You're gonna be able to put this thing on a tripod, move around, and the camera's gonna be able to watch you and track you wherever you go. But even more important than that, and this is, for those of us who play in the video space from time to time know, it's also about the bit rate. And one thing that's really good about this camera is it is capable of pushing a pretty high bit rate. The camera's maximum bit rate is a H.264 80 megabytes per second, or H.265 at 80 megabytes per second. So pretty quick. That's only slightly worse than the bit rate able to be pushed by my Sony A7C for perspective. And another thing that can really easily be overlooked on one of these kind of newer products is the audio. And lucky for us, the OBSBOT Tail Air has many different ways of getting audio into this thing. So first and foremost, it has a built-in microphone. So that's good to see as well. A nice fallback option, usable for putting on a timeline and tracking, linking to your better audio in the event that you need to do that. But the camera also features a number of ways to get audio into the camera without using the onboard mic. The camera's got a built-in 3.5mm connection, pointing to it right here, little dot on the front. So really good to see. The camera features support for mic line in, line out. So you're gonna be able to take one of your microphones, plug it into the camera, and record really nice audio as well. So you're not gonna be limited to the onboard microphones. But it's good to see that it's got a couple of different options there, because that's something that's very easy to be overlooked, is the audio. So something else that's worth pointing out about the camera too is its connectivity. Obviously it's Wi-Fi capable. I think they're probably marketing it more as a streaming camera than what I'm gonna end up using it for. But the camera obviously links up to Wi-Fi. You're capable of viewing and recording the footage on your phone, your laptop, whatever device you've decided to stream it to. It also features Bluetooth connectivity. So, any of those same devices, most of them have Bluetooth connections as well. But even more importantly, it features USB connectivity. You're able to plug this thing in and get the data that way as well. But my most favorite thing about this camera, and this is something that it would have been very easy for them to have left out, again, is it features a micro SD card slot right here. If you're looking at the tech specs, it says the micro SD is capable of supporting up to 512 gigabytes. That's awesome. So the camera can actually record to an internal micro SD, which for a lot of us folks who don't want to be fiddling with Bluetooth and Wi-Fi and all those things, I sound like an old head. I guess the gray in the beard probably belies that fact. So it'll let most of us old guys still send our data to an SD card, which is awesome. Love that. They also gave us some estimations for their battery life, but they say that the charging time for the camera is 90 minutes and that it should run for about 154 minutes. They do qualify that with saying that that was done in 1080p. So I'm guessing what they're implying there is that if you're recording in 4K 30, you're gonna be chewing through that battery just a little quicker, but that's worth pointing out. So what are the most important features about this camera? Well, it's a PTZ camera. The fact that it's on a gimbal, it's able to record steady, smooth footage that tracks you no matter what you do. That's very, very impressive. The fact that it's got laser autofocusing, the fact that it's able to track you as you move throughout a shot, really, really handy, really cool. And the fact that the camera uses AI tools to be able to make sure that the camera's doing the right thing. It's looking for those gesture controls. It's keeping you in the middle of the frame. It's a really, really powerful tool. So I was looking over their website at some of the other uses for the camera. Obviously for sporting events, this is a kind of camera that maybe it's set up at a tennis match or a soccer match or a football game, and the camera would be able to track the action. The camera also features support for a multi-camera setup. So you can actually link these cameras up, get multiple angles, and then change between the camera view that you like. And that's something I could even use in my studio. I could have a couple of these set up and then be able to change back and forth between the shot and pick the one that I liked or the shot that was the most relevant for the moment. They also mentioned using it for like worship services, things like that. Those are the streaming POUs. But as a photographer, as a content creator, I see a lot of value in this camera as well for those types of things. Looking forward to doing some reviews with the camera, setting it up and letting it track. I'm looking forward to setting the camera up, fiddling with my cameras, being able to load film and move around in the shot and all the different things that happen and the camera stay on me. It's gonna be really handy. Here on Overexposed, I mainly talk about film cameras, films, the topics in film photography, those types of things, but I occasionally talk about other products and different things that I enjoy as well. Does it look like a camera that you might use for anything? It solves some of the problems that I have as a YouTuber and content creator, but let me know in the comments what you think. But thanks so much for sticking with me through this video, and we'll see you next time.